Alright, what's up guys? Unexpected development. I had no idea that we would randomly be getting brand new Resident Evil Resistance information today. It's only 11:43, so this was revealed maybe 5 to 10 minutes ago. And as obviously you can tell by the title, it's talking about two brand new masterminds who are of course returning villains from the series. And I couldn't be more excited about this, to be completely honest with you guys. I know that Resident Evil Resistance, when it was first revealed as Project Resistance, was not exactly liked because we all thought, you know, it was going to be its own separate entity, and the fact that it was being outsourced. And after Capcom, you know, essentially, you know, getting back on track with Resident Evil and pretty much every franchise that they've been doing so far, we were wondering why in the world were they creating a multiplayer-only focused Resident Evil game when they were just made a point to return back to survival horror with Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and now Resident Evil 3. So later on it was revealed obviously that it was going to be a multiplayer component to Resident Evil 3 Remake at no additional cost. If you bought the game physical or digital, you would get the game together. It's completely one package. Are they going to be selling Resident Evil Resistance separately? I think they might, for a small price. Maybe later on, maybe not exactly at the moment, but honestly it's their best bet is just, you know, including it with Resident Evil 3 Remake. But anyway, things have changed a lot since that time, and you know, we've got to play a closed beta, which I got to personally play. And as I've said previously, I think the last update I did was in December when they revealed two brand new protagonists, two new, you know, hero characters, that I thought that the game was actually fun and has a lot of potential, but just really to me the issue was a lot of balancing needs to happen, and we don't know if that's going to, how that's going to be, because they haven't announced a open beta or anything of the sort, and I really hope they do. But considering Resident Evil 3 Remake and Resident Evil Resistance are less than 2 months away, it's possible we may not get a beta. So I don't know, I'm hoping that they do, because I do want this to be a good game. I do want this to succeed, and I think that ever since they announced it being a package of Resident Evil 3, most people have, you know, warmed up to the idea of the game, because it's no longer something you have to purchase separately. You're purchasing what I'm confirming is going to be an amazing remake of Resident Evil 3 Remake, and you're essentially getting this with no additional cost. I think that Resident Evil 3 Remake will be more than worth the $60, and then you're getting this together. So if you look at it like that, you're getting a full free experience, I guess you could say. Hopefully Capcom continues to update this, but I'm happy that they have actually revealed two new masterminds, which, yes, now we're going to talk in detail about it. I just wanted to get a little back information out there for maybe anybody who hasn't been following up on Resident Evil Resistance, or maybe hasn't heard about anything since it was even titled Project Resistance. Well, we're getting two brand new masterminds today. Alex Wesker, who is returning from Resident Evil Revelations 2, which I think is genius, and I thought was an amazing idea when the game was first coming out, that was going to be the main villain, because we had known that there was, you know, a potential other Wesker clone out there, another Wesker child, and you know, they kept hinting that it was Alex, and you know, Alex was the information was unknown. We never knew. You know, we never know if it was going to be a boy or a girl, whatever the case may be. And in Revelations 2, they took the perfect opportunity to give us Alex Wesker, and I thought she was a really underrated villain personally. I think the game entirely, Revelations 2, is very underrated. It's a very, very good game. It's a very good horror game, and raid mode, my god, you could spend so many hours on that alone. But it's awesome to see her return. Obviously, she's going to have a more updated design, considering this game is based off of real people, you know, as far as the character models are going. And, you know, Revelations 2 was more of a budget title. So it's cool to see her brought back. And we have Oswald Spencer, who obviously one of the founders of Umbrella, who was also the CEO and president of Umbrella the entire time. An integral part of the you know, the huge Resident Evil plot, you know. So it's cool to see them here, and we actually got glimpses of I think it's two new stages, because two parts of it together look like they could be one. We don't know, and then this makes me so happy, because with Project Resistance beta, they only had the one stage that they had been showing off, And I think it's a cool looking stage. I really do. But one of my concerns was this game having multiple stages, because one stage could get very stale very quickly, and even multiple stages can get stale very quickly if you're not constantly updating the game. Remember, this is a multiplayer centric game. We don't know if it's going to have an offline component like bots to itself, but so far we know it's multiplayer online only. So having multiple maps, in my opinion, is essential. So it's cool to see we are getting multiple maps, hopefully at launch, and they look good. They look really cool. They look very varied, very full of color, not reused assets from the previous Resident Evil games. Though I do want them to put key locations from previous Resident Evil games, but I definitely want them to have things of their own. So I think so far it looks great. So let's talk about Alex Wesker's abilities, or what she's going to be a playstyle like. So in the official PlayStation blog, they talk a bit about her. Of course, if you are unfamiliar, like I said, she's from Resident Evil Revelations 2. She's going to be playing differently than Daniel and Annette Birkin, who were the first two revealed masterminds. So she's going to be more about manipulation, kind of like, rather than like how Daniel is more about like brute force attacking you, summoning, lickers and zombies and Mr. X to just, brute force attack you. She's more going to be more about manipulating the environment, and she's going to be having plant-based enemies. Now, they say that she's going to have a plant enemy called, I'm probably butchering this, so please bear with me, and I apologize, because I've never seen this name before. Yativo? I don't know if I pronounced that right, but apparently it's a plant enemy that she's going to be able to control, and that it may or may not take influence from Plant 42, the Ivy Zombies, and the huge plant from the Outbreak games. So I think that's cool. And basically, it's going to be in a fixed position, one spot, and will, manipulate, like I said, what's going on, and indirectly mess with the survivors. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out. I think that sounds very cool. I think you got to admit, despite this being outsourced, despite this being, not a main single player Resident Evil game, you gotta at least admire the fact that they're not, being lazy with it. They are creating multiple characters who have completely original designs, who look really good in my opinion. And they revealed 2 more than the initial 4. On top of that, they all have their own abilities, their own loadouts. So I think that's all pretty cool. And so far, we've got 4 masterminds that are all unique, all different, and multiple maps. So there is effort being put in here, at least more, in my opinion, way more effort than Umbrella Corps. So far, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, and I think it looks pretty good. Like I said, it's not really costing you any extra money. We're all going to be buying Resident Evil 3 Remake anyway, so we might as well try out Resistance. So, Oswald Spencer, what does he do? Now, he, in my opinion, is the more interesting one. So, he doesn't rely so much on, like, summoning a special creature. He is going to be messing with the architecture, which I think sounds way more interesting than any other mastermind. So, they say here, we decided that instead of directly controlling a bioweapon as his signature skill, we wanted to do something a bit more indirect. Since a part of his toolkit focuses on delays and ways to delay and redirect the survivors, as well as reducing the remaining time, we thought the disintegration field would be perfect for him. The cooldown is much shorter than other bioweapons, and only does damage to the survivors. The creatures he places are unaffected. He's able to constantly redirect survivor movement to his advantage by changing the stage's layout, and it also changes the pace of gameplay with Spencer compared to the other masterminds. Instead of one big game-changing moment, he's slowly but steadily wearing out the survivors. Now that sounds really sinister. That reminds me of something like, Saw or something, right? Where you're kind of like picking them off one by one, torturing them as they get through whatever, they have to get through. And I think that that's going to be probably the most strategic, the most interesting one. Though I think Alex Wesker, with the idea of having a plant in a fixed position, I'm very curious to see how that's going to be. And another thing that I'm very curious about, and they don't mention here, and that's all that they've mentioned so far in this blog, is just, the existence of these 2 brand new masterminds, and some images, which of course I'm going to be putting on the screen for you guys to see. And the link of the blog will be in the description below if you want to go check it out yourself. What I think is very curious about myself personally is, since there are going to be multiple maps, how are they, how is it going to be with each mastermind on each map? And are they going to be fixed where certain masterminds are locked to certain maps, like in that original map that we got to play in the closed beta? Will Daniel be the only one who gets to be there? Will anyone get to be there? That's kind of my question. And I mean, we don't have too much longer to figure out how that's actually going to be, but I think it opens up a very interesting question of how that's going to work. We also get a glimpse here of, like I said, the stages. We've got like a museum, which looks really cool, showing like, stuff in the past, like Egyptian stuff. And we also have a casino, which is very reminiscent of the casino in Revelations 1, but it's not exactly the same. It just kind of looks similar. So those to me look like two different maps. And then we also have this very Silent Hill-esque like back of a theater with all these mannequins. So that looks cool. That looks really good. And yeah, I mean, personally, it looks great to me. My wishes for Resident Evil Resistance is simple. You already eliminated the idea of people having to go buy this game separately. So everyone who buys Resident Evil 3 Remake, physical or digital, will have this game. So you've already eliminated that. It's kind of like when Xbox thought that it was a good idea to release the Kinect with the Xbox One initially, so that everybody who bought an Xbox One had a Kinect. That's different because that costed you extra money, but in this case it's the same idea, the same mindset, but you get the game at no additional cost. So my thing is, constantly update this game, balance this game. Like if it needs to be patched, it needs to be fixed, constantly be working on it. Constantly add brand new survivors, add more masterminds. You don't have to add forever, but to a certain degree, add maybe a few months of content, spread it out, all free for sure, all free, because no one's going to want to really spend money on this. So survivors and masterminds for free. You have tons of characters, both from the mainline series to the Outbreak games, all that stuff. You have so many characters you could bring if you don't want to create more original ones. As far as masterminds, you have so many Resident Evil villains, even from the later games that you can use. You can use Evie from Resident Evil 7. You can use Wesker, Albert Wesker. There's so many things you can do. Nikolai. So you've got all that. And on top of that, like I said, just add more characters, add skins, add stages. I'd like to see some stages from the classic games. I'd love to see the RPD as a stage. I love the RPD as a stage in Outbreak File 2. I thought that was awesome. So it'd be cool to see an iteration of that. Maybe the hospital from Outbreak, which is the same hospital from RE3. Considering this is a part of RE3, I'd like to see some representation in there. I'd love to see Nemesis be a part of this game as well. Nemesis looks crazy so far in the remake of RE3, so there's a lot of potential here, and I'm very, very excited. Personally, I'm going to be playing this game a lot and doing a lot of content for this game as long as there is content and a fan base to play it with. We already know that the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X will be backwards compatible, so there's no worry on that part. Resident Evil 3 Remake will work on the newer systems. So there's no need for the fan base to die out like that, of course, unless it is a bad game and people don't like it. But personally, you can't get worse than Umbrella Corps, and I found people on Umbrella Corps not too long ago. And also keep in mind that it's a PS4 and PC only game, and you had to buy the game separately. So if there's still people playing Umbrella Corps to have a full lobby, then I don't see why people wouldn't be playing this game when this game is already, from having played the closed beta, so many leagues better than Umbrella Corps. But I'm excited. What do you guys think about Alex Wesker and Oswald Spencer? What do you think about the game overall, Resident Evil Resistance? What would you like for them to do in the game, for them to keep your interest? Or maybe you're not interested in the game. What would you want them to do to gain your interest? Like I said, they already removed the idea that you had to buy this game, so I think that was the biggest thing. People didn't want to buy a multiplayer only Resident Evil game, and the fact that now it's included with RE3 Remake, that is an issue that we no longer have to worry about. I'm very curious to see what this is going to be like. I'm very excited. Stay tuned for more coverage here on anything Resident Evil. Hopefully we get some news about Resident Evil 3 Remake, a new trailer or something soon. Hopefully we get a trailer of both of these masterminds in gameplay form. You know, like I said, I'll be definitely posting on it, so stay tuned for anything new. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.